Welcome back to Wisdom in Motion. This is Takesha Bromell, and here we go. We've been talking about the manifold wisdom of God, and I thought this was a great opportunity to slow it down a little bit, go a little bit deeper into something that I mentioned earlier. Now, this isn't a conversation everyone needs to have right now, but for those of us who feel a pull toward wisdom, alignment, and walking with God more intentionally, this is an invitation to sit a little bit longer and really sit into this scripture. So there's this scripture that I've been talking about that has anchored my prayer for years, and it comes from Ephesians 3:10. It speaks about the manifold wisdom of God. Here I go. I keep smiling when I talk about it because that phrase has stayed with me, not as a concept, but as a way of understanding how God actually leads. When we hear the word manifold, we might think complicated, but it really means many-sided, layered, multifaceted, responsive. The wisdom of God is not one-dimensional. It's not a formula, it's not a shortcut, and it's not the same in every season. The wisdom required to begin something is not the same wisdom required to sustain it, for sure. And the wisdom required to grow is not the same wisdom required to steward what you've built. Leadership is layered. Decisions are rarely simple. Pressure is constant, and responsibility carries weight. That's why a single lens of wisdom is not enough. Leaders don't just need wisdom to decide, they need wisdom to discern, to know what kind of wisdom is needed in the moment. Because sometimes the wisest thing is to move, and we already know that, and sometimes the wisest thing is to just wait. And so here are just a couple of things to think about when you think about the manifold expressions of wisdom. There's a wisdom for decision. This is the wisdom that helps you see alignment, not just opportunity. It helps you say no without guilt and yes without fear. Not every open door is meant to be walked through. There is wisdom for timing as well. A good decision made at the wrong time can cost more than you expect. Timing is where many leaders struggle, not because they lack insight, but because pressure rushes what wisdom would pace. There is wisdom for restraint. This is the wisdom that tells you to pause, to hold back, to be still when action would feel more impressive. Restraint is not weakness, it's maturity. And sometimes wisdom protects us by slowing us down. And then there's a wisdom for action. When clarity is present, when alignment is clear, when peace accompanies movement. When wisdom says move, it doesn't carry panic, it carries assurance. At some point, my prayers shifted. I stopped asking God to bless my decisions. Oh boy, that's a big one there. And I started asking Him to lead them. I stopped asking for outcomes and I started asking for wisdom. Because wisdom doesn't just guide what we do, it shapes who we become in the process. And I want to say this carefully. This isn't about manifesting outcomes, and it's not about forcing reality. And it's not about positive thinking apart from God. The manifold wisdom of God is relational. It's about co-laboring with Him, walking with Him, recognizing the opportunities He's already prepared, and having the discernment to know which ones are yours and which ones are not. So the question becomes less about, what should I do next? And more about, how can I frame this? What kind of wisdom do I actually need right now? Wisdom to decide, wisdom to wait, wisdom to restrain, or wisdom to act. That question alone, those questions can shift how you move. So this is wisdom that comes from walking with God, not ahead of Him. And it's changed the way I listen, the way I choose, and the way I move. That kind of wisdom deserves time. It deserves time. This is Takesha Bromell with just all the thoughts of just thinking about what that really means to give wisdom time to lead you. I hope that this was very helpful today. and that you take this to heart as we continue on this path to discovering what wisdom is all about. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is Wisdom in Motion. Talk to you later. Bye.